Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Heather Spears and welcome in everybody. Now in today's video, I am doing a DIY from Daiso. So Daiso is a Japanese dollar store and they have some of the cutest things ever for like super affordable prices. So I am doing a Disney wearable DIY out of the stuff I have in this bag. So a few things before we get started. I'm actually doing this DIY because right now, currently, as I am speaking, I'm doing a sister versus sister challenge with my sister from kind of like doing a budget thing to where she's doing a DIY at the same time as I'm doing a DIY and we're going to compete them. So if you want to see that, check out her video. But this video is all about the DIY of turning. Let me show you what I got in here. I got a couple of these laundry net square bags that have Minnie and Daisy and little icons from like Disney characters on them into an overall dress. So let's get started. I am so excited today because this is the first project I'm actually doing in my new she shed, which is my sewing space, my craft room. So if you notice the new background, that is why, and soon I'm going to show off the space. It's just not 100% ready yet, but yeah, so first project in the new space. So let me show you what I got in this bag, which is these laundry net square bags. It says that it's 19 inches by 13 inches, so I did get a few. It is all about Minnie and Daisy today. And I got a couple of these. I did open one up just to show you kind of the start of what it's going to be. So I'm going to be using this net as a fabric to go over the top to make it Disney themed. But I also got a couple of these large shirts to put underneath it because these things are see-through. So I got some large shirts. I got 2 packs of those. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of these to make this work. Real quick before I jump into actually the steps on how to do this. I have not done this before. This is a brand new project for me and I am gonna kind of wing it as I go along. So we might see some mistakes, but it's part of the process and that's okay. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I do have a plan. So just know that right out of the gate, I have a plan. Everything you see here cost me about $13. And yeah, so let's get started on the steps. So starting out, I am just going to go ahead and rip all of the seams, including the zipper, out of each of these laundry bags. So I've got my seam ripper here and then some scissors and some little nipper scissors here to just go ahead and get all the thread that's in here out. This might take some time. So on this mesh fabric, seam ripping is actually pretty easy. The thread comes right out because there's no stretch or anything like that. But you do have to be a little bit careful. Because it's mesh, it's really easy to go ahead and rip holes in this. I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure I'll do it at some point in time throughout this. But super easy to just kind of glide right along and get this out relatively quickly, which is nice because I didn't know if it was going to be one of those kind of tricky things. But so far, so good. I have a few more bags to go. I am in love with this fabric. I hope it's doing it justice on the camera because I think it's like really, really cute. So I have decided now that I am done seam ripping and moving on to the next step. If I have enough of this, I am totally making a bow and doing my hair really cute to go along with it. So I hope I have enough. If not, I might have to go back because I love it. Real quick, in case you're wondering the difference between seam ripping and cutting. Seam ripping is just going to save every little ounce of fabric you possibly can, and it gets I got probably about an extra ½ inch by seam ripping it instead of cutting it in places where I wanted the extra fabric. But in a project like this, it's kind of like every little bit of fabric counts because I only had 5 of those bags. That's all they had in stock. I would have got a little extra if I could, but Anyway, since I was kind of limited on that, I did want to seam rip instead of just cut, because cutting saves time, seam ripping saves fabric. So now that I am done seam ripping and getting that all prepared, I'm left with 5 pretty good sized pieces of fabric. So this is the bag all unfolded here. And I am very happy with the size and quality. This is actually not a bad quality fabric, which is super, super cool. So I have 5 pieces like that. I do have 5 zippers. I only cleaned up one of them, and this is a nice zipper to use for another project if I don't use any on this, but super nice zipper. Pretty color too. So 5 zippers, 5 pieces of fabric. Next, what I'm going to do is, I beg you, never underestimate the importance of an iron. I am going to iron all of these guys flat so that you don't see these big creases. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there are some pretty big creases. And then where I seam ripped, there are just a fold, and I want that extra ½ inch of fabric there. And after I do that, I'm gonna sew all these together to make one solid piece of fabric to cut out my shapes on. Now, I will warn you, there are gonna be some seams in some funny places once I get to cutting the shapes out after I sew all these pieces together. Now, that is a-okay for this kind of project. It is going to be part of the design of it because there's absolutely no avoiding that. I am making this out of laundry bags, so ideally I would have had this as a solid piece of fabric, but since I'm going to be cutting it and, or not cutting it, cutting the shapes out of kind of a patchwork type thing that I'm doing here, it's going to be a-okay. Just a fair warning, they are expected, but I think it's going to be kind of a cute little way to add some style. Just want to swing you in for a before and after on the ironing. With these pieces all ironed, it's time to go ahead and pin them together. The way I'm going to do that is I'm taking one of the pieces and laying it out so that the right side of the fabric is facing me, and I'll show you guys up close here in a second. Then I'm going to take another piece here, and then make sure that the right side of the fabric is facing down. So that means right sides of the fabric are facing each other, and that is so that when we take it and we sew it along the seam here, that when we unfold it, the right sides of the fabric have the pretty seam and the inside doesn't. Day 2 and it's sewing day. That's my favorite. So today is sewing day, and I am just gonna go ahead and put these pieces through the machine, but please forgive my lighting right now. I'm in my new space and I don't have my curtains up yet, so it's gonna be a little intense coming from this way, but just want to show you going in with the machine. I am sending it through my serger. Now, you do not have to have a serger, you do not have to have an overlock machine like this. I'm just doing that to like nicely finish the edges. Regular sewing machine is a-okay with a regular straight stitch on this one. So when we unfold this, check it out. It's nice. Look how nice it looks. The inside, because I use a serger, the inside is like kind of like nicely finished there. I don't know if you can see it on camera. And the outside just looks like a regular seam, just like that. And the fabric just got twice as big. And I am just going to be working on putting all these pieces together till they're one solid piece. I'll show you. This is all of the bags laid out and sewn together. If you look close, you can see there is some seams in there. And because they're sewn together and I want to make this as nice as possible, I'm just going to press these seams flat and then get to folding and cutting. I just want to show you a quick difference between a pressed seam, which lays kind of nice and flat like this, and then this side of the seam is unpressed, and you see how it kind of like bunches up right here. In the next steps, we're gonna need to take some measurements. So since I'm doing this without a pattern, I'm gonna be using the traditional method of how I usually make circle skirts. If you're unfamiliar with how you make circle skirts, they're super easy, and I'm going to do just a light explanation of it here in this video. But starting off, you're going to want to get your waist measurement. Now, you could always just measure around your own waist. That is completely fine. But just for example reasons, I'm going to show you on the mannequin. You want to hit right at your waist because that is what we're doing. Now, once you get around and get your measurement, that's when we're going to start making our circle skirt. Since I do not have a lot of fabric for this, I'm not going to do an actual circle skirt. I'm just going to be using the method of making circle skirts, but you'll get the idea. So basically from this point, what I want to do is make a 3/4 skirt. Now, traditionally, the way that you make a 3/4 skirt, I'll just do a quick rundown, is in the same method as a circle skirt. So you would go ahead and take your fabric, fold it in half, something kind of like that, and then go ahead and fold it again like this and start your calculations, which I'll show you here in a second. The reason why I am not doing it this way for this project is because I'd be left with like a super tiny little mini skirt. I wanted a short skirt, but not this short. So instead of using that traditional method, I am gonna do this same thing with no folds. So here is my fabric with no folds. I'm gonna put this there just so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so here's my fabric with no folds. And I'm gonna use that same process, but you see this way I don't have that limitation of the shortness of my skirts. Okay, so this is where things get complicated, but just bear with me. I'm gonna do my best to explain it here. Now you might see that I already have some marks here, and that's just so I could explain what exactly I'm doing. So this is a single layer of fabric, and I am going to use a traditional method of making a circle, 3/4, half circle skirt to do this skirt. So basically, get your waist radius starting from the corner of your fabric and measure down the radius of your waist. Once you have that measurement, put a mark in. And then we are going to use that mark and go ahead and measure the length we actually want our skirt. So what this method is going to do is it's going to actually give me a little bit more freedom. It's making either the front or the back of the skirt, and then going ahead and letting me use that as a pattern to create another piece front or back. So basically it's allowing me some room to let's say sacrifice some of the volume of my skirt to make sure that it fits around the waist, which is okay in this case. So that's why I'm doing it this way instead of the folding method. So with all that out of the way, let's do it. Now that I have where my waist radius is and down here the length of my skirt, I'm gonna go ahead and start at the same corner that I was on, get that total measurement, and then mark it around the same way. Now you know what to do. Let's cut it out. Now my piece looks like this. So using this as a pattern, I'm just going to cut another piece just like it. This is what it looks like pinned on the mannequin. And since I was doing a little bit of an overall look, let's start on doing the top. Now that the hard, boring mouth part is over with, I am going to go ahead and start on the top. So to do this, I'm going to just use a scrap of the fabric here. Go ahead and pin it on the mannequin. I'm actually pinning this on to where the right side is facing the mannequin because I'm being lazy about it, and I'm just gonna like gather it and do the design this way. But draping is my favorite part of every design. So the way I'm doing it is I'm just kind of eliminating the wrinkles, coming in, scissors would help, coming in, making just some little cuts to help me out here. This is the main part that I was worried about because I was not all the way sure I'd have enough fabric to kind of cover the whole thing and do the draping. but I do, so I am kind of splurging with it. So you'll notice I'm keeping this dart right here in the middle. My mannequin has little guidelines on it, which is super nice. But so I'm keeping that and just making sure all the rest of the fabric is laying flat. Kind of coming in, making the incisions. If you're not familiar with draping, making the incisions definitely just helps kind of eliminate some of the tension. So this is a general idea of the top. And now I'm just going to take these darts that I need to make and just pin them where they need to be. I decided it would be super cute to make the general shape of this kind of like a heart, like a sweetheart up here, and kind of gather it and then kind of make overall straps from there. So hopefully that turns out cute. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. So now that it lays flat, we got our darts. I'm gonna go in with a pin and just draw the actual design of how I want this top to look. I want it to be a little bit of a sweetheart thing going on here, add a little cute flair to the idea of overalls. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with that. Now I decided that I am gonna be leaving the top to this design sheer and putting all the t-shirts that I got from Daiso on the bottom to make sure the bottom isn't sheer. And I think that will be kind of a cute thing to layer over the top of a pretty colored shirt. And you probably guessed it, it's time to cut out the shape that we just drew. So cute. So now let's just go ahead and sew up those darts with a regular straight stitch on the sewing machine. Absolutely in love with the little sweetheart top. I did a little gathering here because that's what I intend to do at the end. So for the last pieces besides the underlay of the skirt, we are going to do some little straps. I want my straps to tie at the top because I think that would be a cute little design. So I'm going to do a shorter strap in the top, and then in the back, oh, that was a bad squeak. In the back, I'm going to do a longer strap to attach to the bottom here. I'm going to add about 5 inches to each measurement that I just took for the front and back straps. And then just go ahead and make sure they are the same width, because that's kind of the most important part here. Here's my straps all ready to go. I have 2 long ones and 2 short ones. I have all the straps just kind of resting on the mannequin now. So the next couple of steps I'm just going to kind of speed through, because first of all, I need to do the exact same process to the white shirts that I got. So here is a little pack of white shirts that I got from Daiso also, and I'm going to be doing the same exact process on these white shirts, but only doing it for the skirt of the design back here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the seam ripping, I'm going to sew together the fabric in a similar same way, and then use the skirt pieces as a pattern to cut out the white. I am just going to skip right to having this done because it's the same thing. You don't want to see it all over again, I promise. So this is the t-shirt one, cut out exactly the same as our overlay. Now, this is what we are doing. We are pinning our overlay onto the top of the t-shirt fabric so that it looks like this. This is what it looks like when it's done. It's no longer see-through, which is good. And I have pins just kind of resting in the top, actually on all sides. So next step is I'm going to do a base stitch, which is a temporary stitch, to get these pieces to act as one. Now that I have the white underlay underneath both the front and the back of the skirt, I'm going to put the skirt together. So I am going to go ahead and sew up one side, finish the bottom, finish the top, and add a zipper. I'm so lucky that the perfect zipper just came with the bag, so that's what I'm gonna use. So now that the skirt is all done and ready, I am going to work on the top. To finish this top, I am actually just gonna go around and finish the edges of the shirt part, add the straps to the top, which will be right about there, and then put the top onto the skirt. Once the top is onto the skirt, I can go ahead and put these long straps attached to the skirt and give it a tie at the top, and it'll be all done. So next time I see you, I think we'll have a complete garment. Ta-da! The dress is all done and I think it's super cute. I love the way that it turned out. Now, if you noticed, I am styled up a little different, and that is because I'm about ready to go to Disneyland. So I thought it'd be fun to bring you along for just a quick peek at what the dress looks like in action. Thank you so much for joining me, and remember, if you saw anything you like, give me a thumbs up so I know. If you'd like to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button and you are always welcome to join me. Until next time, bye!